All right, guys, here's state number 4, California.
Это ведущий Fuddbusters адвокат, он не ваш адвокат. Возможно, если вы ему заплатите. И в любом случае, это видео не является юридической консультацией.
This has been the toughest one to do so far. Can't quite imagine why. Usually I break the analysis down into 9 categories, but that doesn't quite fit with California's massive and interconnected web of laws in this area. When I was writing the script, I realized that after just 3 sections, it was more than twice the length of any of my previous episodes, so I had no choice but to split the video up into 3 parts. Here in California, part 1, we'll be talking just about the laws concerning you getting a gun at all. I'll have timestamps for the different sections down in the description below. We've also got some skits to highlight the more absurd parts of California law, so I hope y'all will enjoy those. If you like this sort of content, do me a huge favor, like the video and subscribe. That helps me to know what kind of content you guys want me to focus on. It's also a nice thing to do that I really appreciate. Without further ado, let's get stuck into it. So in all of the previous videos in this series, we started off with the state constitutional right to bear arms. It makes sense because with that as a starting point, we're kind of able to gauge it against how the state law treats people's right to bear arms against the backdrop of its own purported supreme rules. Well, California is no different, and I think the state's constitution will be very illuminating as we proceed with discussing the various different facets of gun law in the Golden State. Article 1, Section 1 of the California Constitution provides that all people are by nature free and independent and have inalienable rights. Among these are enjoying and defending life and liberty, acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and pursuing and obtaining safety, happiness, and privacy. A reasonable reading of this provision could very much include a right to arms, but the Supreme Court of California was very explicit in holding that no such thing exists because it is not specifically mentioned. Although the Supreme Court of California has been quite eager to hold that other unenumerated rights exist under Article 1, Section 1 of the state constitution, the state Supreme Court went through careful, reasoned analysis to determine that a right to bear arms was not included there. That analysis went as follows. We reject any suggestion that gun regulations impermissibly infringe upon the right to defend life or protect property guaranteed by the California Constitution. The sources and reasoning behind this emphatic rejection can be found in the tomes of Because I, the California Supreme Court, Said So. Right off the bat, you know this is going to be a good one. So now let's talk about restrictions on owning firearms. That is, if you ask me, the most pernicious class of gun restriction. Prerequisites on owning a firearm at all. This section will be limited to run-of-the-mill pedestrian firearms, handguns, shotguns, rifles. State restrictions on NATO guns that the feds like to regulate will be in the cool gun restriction section coming in the next video. Of course, because we all know where this is going, we're going to have a separate section on assaulty guns too. To begin with, let's talk about California's Firearm Safety Certificate, or FSC, which is required in order to purchase or acquire a firearm. California law requires you to present this FSC to gun dealers before getting a gun. Loans of firearms also require the presentation of a valid FSC unless you are a current or honorably retired cop, you have special training, you're an FFL, you've got a concealed weapons permit, which we will get into later, or you're an active or retired soldier, you're a special movie person, you're dealing with guns as part of distributing an estate, you're a licensed hunter doing hunting things without handguns, or you're going to give them to a cop to chop up. The dealer processing your transaction has to keep photocopies of your FSC so that the state can make sure that he's compliant. Current and honorably retired cops, as well as concealed license holders, are also exempt from most FSC requirements, generally speaking. Now, if you want to get an FSC, you've got to be 18 or older. You got to pass a written test administered by a state-certified instructor with a grade of at least 75%. This test must cover at least the following: the laws applying to carrying and handling firearms, the responsibilities of gun ownership, current law as it relates to private sales of firearms, current law on using lethal force, and safe storage requirements, which are another interesting thing. The test will also cover the drawbacks of bringing a firearm into your house and prevention strategies to alleviate these horrifying issues that are attendant with keeping a deadly weapon in your home, where you live. If you fail the test on your first go-around, your instructor must offer you additional corrective materials. You can't retake it until 24 hours have elapsed, and you must have your same instructor give you a different version of the same test. Don't like your instructor? Well, unless you get special permission from the department, you're out of luck. You're stuck with them, because reasons. In addition, test takers must sign a form acknowledging that they've been warned as to what a nightmare it is to exist in the state of California and how they must comply with all of the laws and keep their firearms generally unusable so, no kids or whatever might get hurt or something. Of course, this being something that they administer to anyone who wants to own a gun, you might be worried about accessibility. Well, worry not, because if you can't read English or Spanish, or at all, the state will provide the test orally by a translator if needed.
Bonjour.
Mr. Pierre, good to see you. How you doing?
Qu'est-ce qui se passe?
What's
Monsieur
going on?
Totalini?
Welcome back. How you doing? You sure? Yeah.
Ouais. J'ai envie d'un certificat TZM, finir mon...
Yeah, absolutely. So, you ready to take your firearm safety certification
absolument.
test?
Ouais.
Yeah? Yeah, okay. Well, so you just, go ahead and get started with that. This is your first packet.
Qu'est-ce que c'est ça?
The test. Yeah.
Ouais. C'est en anglais.
Can't read English?
C'est sûrement non.
Spanish. That is a no. Okay. Hey, Alex. We need to get a translator in here. You know anybody? Speaks French, right?
French.
Yeah. Okay. You know anybody? Yeah, this is kind of. Look, this is really stupid. I wish we didn't have to do this. This is kind of stupid. You're right to have these.
French.
Yeah.
As for price, the state charges the instructor up to $15 for each certificate issued, and the instructor may in turn charge a fee of $25, ensuring a nice clean tenor of profit. The state is also required to produce an FSC instruction manual in addition to the test itself, both in English and Spanish. This manual is made available to dealers who must make it available to the public. The law requires that every FSC contain a unique certificate serial number, the holder's full name, their date of birth, their driver's license number, signature, the signature of the issuing instructor, and the date of issuance. This special slip is valid for 5 years on its own. This whole process previously only applied to handguns, mind you, but in January of 2015, the California government saw it to fix it to apply to all firearms. Of course, this is all very different if you're in the entertainment industry. I mean, for obvious reasons, right? These common sense exceptions. Naturally, the state wants to keep it easy to have motion picture shows and other entertainment products fully outfitted with neat equipment. That's why the state has set up a special entertainment firearms permit. This simple common sense permit allows anyone over 21 and in the entertainment industry to be exempt from normal firearms dealer transfers requirements to get unloaded guns for use in their, products. Here's a few things you get to ignore if you are in the entertainment industry. The requirement that transfers be processed at a dealer, that handgun recipients have a handgun safety certificate, now replaced by the FSC, the prohibition on receiving one handgun a month, and of course the 10-day waiting period. Also, of course, naturally, as a common sense measure, people with entertainment permits are exempt from the background check in California as well. In most of the episodes in this series, I've covered the concept of registration alongside other owner prerequisites, but that simply won't do here. It gets its own section. Now, you must understand the state retains an electronic database with important information about gun sales and transfers. You see, this database is critical for our benevolent silicon overlords to properly implement various gun safety laws for our safety, as is custom. It is especially important in allowing the government to violently seize to ensure people voluntarily relinquish firearms after they or the firearm becomes prohibited. Anyway, if you move into the state as a gun owner, the law considers you a personal firearm importer. All such importers must, within 60 days, provide a full report to the California Department of Justice regarding their firearms or relinquish them to a licensed dealer or police cop for choppy disposal. This form, which is absolutely mandatory, mind, requires you to give DOJ permission to perform a background check on you to make sure that you can own your property that you own. It also requires you to certify that you understand that, should the check show you to be prohibited, or should the government commit a clerical error, that you will relinquish all of your firearms. Although the form doesn't specify how long you have to do this, the state is most pleased when you do it immediately, given your continued possession is at all times unlawful. Any person who moves into the great state of California with possession of an assault gun or a rifle chambered in the forbidden 50 BMG cartridge should have gotten the permission from DOJ beforehand or cause it to be delivered to a licensed dealer. Not doing so, of course, carries the potential consequence of the government locking you in one of its special cages, something the government enjoys deeply and passionately. Alright, so now let's talk about buying blasters. This section is for laws that restrict how an individual can acquire a firearm. While federal law controls FFLs, it does not control how individuals inside of a state can transact privately when it comes to firearms. This leaves a lot of opportunity for states to either respect or severely frustrate the rights of their constituents. Of course, California makes the obvious choice: severe frustration. First of all, you've got to plan your purchases. California generally forbids you from buying more than one handgun or self-loading centerfire rifle from a dealer per month. Luckily, your dealer has more than your word to go off of, as they'll be checking with California's DOJ to see if you've applied to get another GAT from a dealer in the preceding month. Worry not, though, because you won't be forgetting about this, as California law requires that all dealers post in block letters at least 1 inch high notifications about these purchase limitations. The one blaster per month restrictions do not apply to gun transfers between private people, even when processed through a dealer. Speaking of which, except for a very few narrow exceptions, which aren't suspicious at all, California requires all firearm sales or transfers to go through a licensed dealer subject to background check and fecal sample. If you've done something foul, like buying a gun from an unlicensed person, the seller must give the firearm to the dealer, who will deliver it to the purchaser after the mandatory inspection and waiting period. If you're getting a gun from another person, the dealer is empowered to charge the state transfer fee, which is around $40 plus a $10 dealer fee. If you're getting a transfer from another FFL, though, the dealer can charge whatever he wants for providing this valuable and necessary service, and to punish you for not buying the gun from him. I'm told transfer fees in California, FFL to FFL, are from $75 to $100 commonly. If the recipient is prohibited, or for whatever reason the computer lord rejects him, the dealer must determine if the seller is prohibited. If not, the dealer gives it back to the seller. If both the seller and buyer are prohibited, the dealer must deliver the firearm to the police cops, who will slice it up, serve it over glass with foie gras, and eat it for dinner. In the all too common event that the seller, buyer, and dealer are all prohibited, all parties will be loaded into a cannon and fired into the sun. Of course, not every transaction has to go through a dealer. There's a few exceptions, such as up to 6 transactions per year with immediate relatives. Now, more than 6 transactions with your brother? Single transaction with your cousin? More than 50 total guns in a year? Unlicensed dealing. Straight to jail. Getting rid of your gun at a government-sponsored buyback is also exempt, as are some transfers to museums. Temporary loans are okay as long as they're less than 120 days, the recipient is over 18, the gun is safely stored, which has an insane definition that we'll talk about later, and that nobody paid anything to secure this loan. And of course, that each person has a signed copy of a special form explaining the obligations of gun loaning. Did you miss any of these? Jail. Straight to jail. There are other loan situations that are okay under like 20 more pages of law for hyper-specific situations under hyper-specific pretexts. Temporary transfers are also okay without a dealer if the transfer is reasonably necessary to prevent a suicide risk, the gun is safely stored, and the recipient does not use the firearm in any manner, okay? Don't touch it, okay? It's also okay to not use a dealer when you're both CNR licensees, as long as the old gun you're trading isn't a handgun. Handgun? Jail. Donations made to nonprofit auctions are also exempt, as are transfers made by operation of law. If you wound up the new owner of a gun by any of these means, congratulations. Make sure that you're over 18 and that you tell the cops how you got it within 30 days. It is worth noting that private transfers are exempt from the 1 gun a month rules, as well as the state's insane restrictions on design standards for handguns, which, yes, we'll be getting into in another video. If you're worried that dealers won't let you engage in these extremely limited transactions, worry not. The government is here to help. All licensed gun dealers in the state are required to process private party transfers upon request unless the dealer doesn't usually sell handguns, in which case they only must do so for rifles. Of course, dealers are not allowed to help you do the illegal straw sale. Of course, that was already illegal, but it's extra super duper illegal in California. All right, so now we've decided we're getting a gun. We've figured out how to do it without going straight to jail. So now as a prospective acquirer of a firearm, we must submit an application to purchase the firearm. This comes in the form of a dealer record of sale, or DROS, from which is submitted through a licensed dealer to California's DOJ. The dealer will then submit your personal information to the state as you present clear evidence of your identity and age to the dealer. Dealers must obtain your name, date of birth, and ID number from the magnetic strip on your card. It cannot be supplied by other means unless the DOJ says you get to specifically. And since California recently switched to a point-of-contact NICS system, which allows the state to sniff through your stuff more easily every time you buy a gun, DOJ is required by law to endeavor tirelessly to find some reason to deny the transfer. This is much more than a normal NICS check, as they get to request loads of different information in excess of what the feds look at. If the bureaucrat cops are successful in finding any minute technical reason to deny your transfer, they must immediately notify the dealer, as well as the local police. Upon this notification, the local police will decide whether or not to use this as an excuse to engage in fun police activities such as raid your house, plant fake evidence, or murder your pets and family members. When the dealer is notified that you're prohibited, he must provide you a special form, the Prohibited Notice and Transfer Form. Should you survive this experience, you have the privilege of asking DOJ why they did this. If DOJ isn't terribly sure, they must tell the dealer to delay your transfer for up to 30 days. If they can't pin you as prohibited within that time, DOJ must notify the dealer, who then has the discretion to decide whether or not to complete the transfer. Of course, entertainment industry people with their special permits are exempt from background checks almost entirely. Again, it's common sense stuff, guys. Normal people, reasonably terrified of the prospect, can do a voluntary firearms eligibility check with the DOJ before attempting to start the process themselves. If you get through all that before letting you take the gun, the dealer must ensure you perform a safe handling demonstration with the firearm being purchased in the presence of a DOJ certified instructor.
Hey, Mr. Douglas. Good to see you.
It's good to see you.
Hey, how you doing? Please have a seat.
All right.
So, great news. Great news.
Let's hear it.
You passed your background check. You waited your 10 days. We have your firearm safety certificate on file. Your fecal sample came in positive, so you're pretty much ready to go. It's just one last step that you have to do. You're gonna have to demonstrate that you can proficiently handle this firearm, in a safe manner. So, whenever you're ready, you can just show me that you know how to use it.
I thought you said this was the safe one.
Oh yeah, no, this is the safest of all pistols you can buy. There's just really nothing safer than this.
I don't know how to use it.
Yeah, I mean that's not my problem, to be honest with you. We don't really, we just sell them. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I guess I just start or like.
Yeah, go ahead whenever you're ready.
All right.
Alex, you got this? All right. This is our instructor.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Oh, look at that, lit up. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it supposed to?
Yeah.
All
All right, yeah, go ahead whenever you're ready.
I mean.
Oh, don't touch the trigger though.
Okay.
Yeah. Just grip it normally.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Like.
No, don't load the gun.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
load
sorry.
the
I
gun.
didn't.
Okay, now you're pointing the gun at Alex.
I
Alex, are you saying
didn't
this?
want to do that.
Okay. Just make sure you saw
it
that.
off or.
Well, I mean, if you're going to turn it on, you're definitely going to want to load the gun first. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I like this?
Well, I mean, I can't help you do that, but definitely don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah, I mean, you cocked it back. That's nice. I can't help you though with it.
Yeah.
Just demonstrate that you know how to do it. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but take your finger off the trigger though, please.
Okay.
Yeah, don't touch that.
Okay.
The gun could go off.
All right. Yeah.
And you're still pointing it at the instructor.
I shouldn't
want to
be doing that.
There we go. I see. It comes with a little card. That's
Can
nice.
I see it?
No, definitely not. That's ours.
All right.
It's all right.
Okay. Thank.
Yeah.
Can I? Are you sure I can't see the manual?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. I understand.
You have to show us that you can do it without the manual.
Yeah.
This all has to be
Yeah.
upstairs. Up in the head there.
Like that?
Yeah, that's definitely not right. I wouldn't
Okay.
really know what would be the proper way to do that.
Okay.
But if I did, I wouldn't be able to tell you anyway. So You're just gonna have
Do
to.
that?
Well, I mean, I think you just started a timer. You better hurry up though. You're gonna run.
Yeah, you know, you're right. You're 100%.
You gotta close
right.
the lift gate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, oh right, the lift gate. Yeah. That.
Yep. That's great. Yeah, you're still pointing the gun at Alex. I don't know.
Yeah,
why you
I'm
keep
sorry. I
doing
didn't
that.
mean to do that.
Yeah.
Is that good?
It looks good to me. Looks good to me. You failed.
Following the demonstration, the dealer must sign, date, and retain an affidavit stating that the requirements were met with your signature on it as well. The dealer's failure to comply with the above may result in his removal from California's centralized list of firearms dealers. Unless you're in the entertainment industry, of course, in which case you don't need to demonstrate safe handling at all.
Yeah. We're gonna just put that back in there.
Oh,
Let's
so,
just, get rid of here.
So like, can I try it again?
I think we have some availability. Never worry, third. But yeah, we'll get back to you on that. Harvey, what's going on, man?
How you doing?
Good to see you. Good
Yeah.
to see you. Yeah, you're here for the machine gun or grenade launcher. Which one are you picking up today?
The machine gun today, the grenade
Yeah,
launcher
don't
maybe
worry about
next
that
week.
thing. Yeah, not a problem. Here you go.
Ah, thank you.
Just 1 second, make sure. Yep. All right.
All
Cool.
right, that works.
Just just sit with Alex. He'll be able to pack that up for you and
Okay,
put
great.
it in the Ferrari.
All right. Yeah. No,
Take care. I know you don't have a lot of room in the back of that thing.
Of course.
Anyways.
Take care.
Yeah. No problem.
What the hell?
It's piece-ish. What?
You didn't need to show you how to do it?
He's in the movies, so you know how that goes.
Oh.
Yeah. You don't need to do any of that stuff. Movies.
Yeah.
Movies. Yeah.
It's
movie
important
films.
for us.
Yeah. Anyways. So, never wait third.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So.
Thanks. All right.
Well, all right, guys, that's it for part 1 of California. As you can see, it's already been so wonderful. Next time, we will start off with regulations surrounding the home making of firearms. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for watching to the end and for your support. I mean, it's been incredible. Of course, I have a Patreon and a Subscribe Star set up. I also just recently joined Utreon, which is really awesome. If you guys want to check any of that out, there's links in the description. Again, appreciate it, and I will be seeing you guys next time as we continue this.